at the Carver Branch Library, and we worked really hard, the board members, so that we wouldn't have to be careful that we didn't have a walk-in quorum because it was 7 of us there. And so we abide by those rules, but it was very nice. And the staff really did a great job with that. I also stayed for the Carver's Art Project, where they talked to the community about the different type of art that they want to put with the new, when they do the uptake and new things with the Carver Branch Library. I did view the B session with the council meeting on the budget report. I did view that online. And I did visit the Carver once they closed. I went to the Dawson site, and it's very nice. They did a marvelous job. They did a marvelous job, and it's so cozy, and it's just really nice. And I look forward to other people going and visit that little area. I did attend the St. Pedro 95th anniversary, and we had a great time. I have gone to that library before, and it was really nice. It's just nice and cozy and just a nice, real comfort place. And I was able to pop in on the Molly Pruitt Library and Schaefer as well. And that was all that I did in the last 2 months. Thank you.
So I was able to view your presentation of the budget in front of council, so great job. And also it sounds like everybody reached out to their council person and did a really good job advocating for the library's budget. So I was happy to see that, as well as I attended the Carver 95th anniversary and the San Pedro anniversary. I have friends that have been going to Carver, and they're so excited about the updates, and the whole community is very excited about the updates. I ran into them there. And then, let's see here. Excited, you talked about Eddie Vega, about Hispanic Heritage Month coming, or it's actually up until, October 15th. He has a writing workshop this Saturday, so looking forward to attending possibly that and some other events.
I compiled the activities that I had the last 2 months, and I'll submit that for the record. And I did that because I wanted to talk about especially 2 impactful things I attended. And on September 21st at 10 in the morning, I was at Parman Library, bright and early, for the International Day of Peace. It was just one of the most soulful things I've done in a very, very long time. It was a co-sponsored, or there was a collaboration with the Library and Parks and Rec and a group called the Heartfulness Institute. These were young children, middle grade kids, high school kids, college kids, adults, all of them took you through the Peace Gallery that they had there in Parman. And the way that they spoke, it just made you know that this is something that they have incorporated into their everyday life, every minute of the day. They talk about these little kids, 5-year-olds, talking to me about mindfulness and the daily affirmations they do and say to make the world a better place, to make themselves better people. They balance their minds. I mean, it was the most awesome thing I've been to in a very long time. They also made sure to point out to the librarian that these programs are all research-based, that makes it even more impactful, I believe. I got a chance to visit with Barbara, the branch manager there, and she wanted me to pass on salutations to Marcy and to tell her how much they are so grateful to have her visit when she comes over to the library, and they just are also very grateful for all of the things that you do for the library in your advocacy for libraries. So I wanted to make sure and pass that message on to you. Secondly, you know that I go to Saturday morning meditation at Pan American Library, so we had a wonderful meditation session. On our way out, I turned to the right and noticed that the table there where we keep the Friends information didn't have any pamphlets. So Nicole, the branch manager, was passing by, and I had a couple of my friends from meditation with me, and I said, do you have any spare ones? And as I was talking to Nicole, the ladies that were with me said, what's the Friends? So I talked to them about the Friends. Nicole explained about the Friends, and they said, that sounds so interesting, and knowing that you had a teen group there, and that was so innovative for Pan American Library and for the whole system itself, this is something we're really interested in knowing something about. So, Liz, we might have something brewing at Pan American Library in the way of Friends. Okay? I knew you'd be excited about that. Thanks.
Okay, back in August, on August 8th, I went to Memorial to follow up on the art for Las Palmas Library. And then on August 12th, I visited Bazan Library. On August 19th, I visited Collins Garden Library. And then on August 25th, we had a naming committee meeting here in Central. So in September, we did have a facilities meeting on September 10th. I went to Bazan to visit on the 9th, and then today I went to visit just to drive by, see how things are going with Bazan and Las Palmas today, and also the interim services at the Anastasio Garcia, natatorium. I went to visit them today too. That's it.
So I did also attend my budget meeting and did thank the councilman for his support for the library, and also happy, Sukrut, that your staff is doing such a wonderful job. I did see them at one of the events, so the outreach is going great, and how they're outreaching to senior centers. I did see them at Lions Field, and I did ask after they left our older adults that go there how they felt about the library. They were so excited about the card. They wanted to get more cards. So thank you for doing that outreach, especially to our older adults.
Report from the library director.
Okay, thank you, Jasprit. And I wanted to say thanks to each and every one of you, like how lucky we are as library staff members to see your presence at our events. Knowing about this walking quorum and worrying about the walking quorum of the board at a library event speaks volumes of how dedicated this group is. And we are thankful and grateful to each of you for your support to the library. So we celebrated 95th anniversary of our San Pedro branch on September 6th, as most of you were present there. There were a lot of local dignitaries in attendance to celebrate our library. Our SAPL staff and San Pedro branch library team did a great job in organizing and hosting the event. District 1 Council Member Sukh Kaur, our Library Board Chair Jasprit Kaur, District 1 Library Board Trustee Carla Gurgiolo, Assistant City Manager David McCary, and our Poet Laureate Eddie Vega provided remarks at the event. It was such a great vibe that day. It was beautiful. The fiscal year 2026 budget was approved by the council on September 18. Few of the highlights include a 2% across-the-board compensation increase for all staff citywide, an alarm system updates at 8 library locations in the amount of $285,000, replacement and upgrade for the furniture across the library system in an amount of $266,000, computer and mobile device replacements for 453 devices across our system in an amount of $710,000. The approved budget also includes funding for library facilities. It has funding in the amount of $275,000 to complete the work at the Cody Branch Library. This project was funded last year, and we needed additional funds to finish the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system replacement. We also experienced a funding gap for Collins Garden Branch Library heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system replacement, and funding in an amount of $200,000 was added to complete this project in this budget. This budget also includes funding of $150,000 to replace the roof at Forest Hill Branch Library. Also, the funding in the amount of almost $300,000 for LED lighting retrofits at Tobin and Thousand Oaks branch libraries in the budget. We're also looking forward to our Staff in-Service Day on Tuesday, September 30th. All locations except for Pruitt Library and our Campment Library Portal, the Briscoe Museum, will operate on a modified schedule. Public services will take place from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Our team has already initiated a communication plan to inform library users and stakeholders of this modified schedule. And I would like to end my report by welcoming our Assistant City Manager, David McCary, and thank him for his continuous support to our library. Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the director on the director's report? Okay, I just have a comment. I've been eagerly awaiting October, where the digital access goal I was promised a few months, we were all promised a few months ago would be adjusted because of the change in the equipment and the way it measures. So I'm very excited about that, so we can see how we're doing towards the new goal. And I also wanted to ask if next month you could give us an update on National Library Card Sign-Up Month, or Library Card Month, I think. And if you could share with us next month how the full month of September fared for library signups.
Absolutely. We will have all that data for the board.
Thank you. Next, we'll go on to committee reports. Next we'll go on to the budget report for August 2025. Yes, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Good afternoon, board members and board chair. I'm here to just give you a brief overview on the library's budget as of the end of August. We were at 92% of the fiscal year had elapsed, and we were at 91% spent, including encumbrances, or 88% without them. As reported last month, we are projected to have some slight savings against our budget this year, and that's mainly going to be due to the personnel services category due to vacancies. For the fiscal year 25 major gift section, we are at 73% spent, and we are on track to spend those funds by the end of December. So not much else has changed since last month. That pretty much completes my report, but if y'all have any specific questions on any of the line items, I'll take them now.
Thank you very much. Next, we have a report from the Executive Committee. This committee did meet on September 16th to set the agenda for tonight's meeting. Next, we have a report from the Advocacy Committee, and I believe you all did not meet. Okay, thank you. A report from the Budget Committee. You did not meet? Okay, thank you. A report from the Facilities Committee.
We did meet, and I think we have some updates.
Good afternoon, Library Trustees and Library Director. My name is Mark Lysell, and I'm the Project Control Manager for the library system. There was a Facilities Committee meeting on September 10th, as mentioned. There were no action items, but we did have some project updates. I just want to run through a few of these for the board to get caught up on. Let's see if we can get this. Oh, wait. There we go. Okay. So we've got the Maverick Branch Library that was closed. That has been closed since June 9th for the HVAC replacement project. That's moving along. We're at about 85% complete. We had our power shut down this week. CPS came in on Monday morning and killed the power, so that this week they don't have any power over there. We're going to power up the building either Friday or Monday, and then we'll get ready to move back in early October. Couple of pictures real quick. So some of the work that we've had to do from top to bottom at that building, we had to run an entirely new power system because we're upgrading the equipment, and so they had to run new lines from the power pole over to the building. And then you can see we've got new equipment in the mechanical yards, and then we've had to add some new ventilation up on the roof to get some additional fresh air into the building to help the comfort levels in the building. The Carver Branch Library, that is an exciting project moving forward. As you know, it's a $12.5 million bond project. We are currently in construction phase. Actually, that changed just this week because on Monday, we actually turned the keys to the building over to the contractor. So they're going to start putting a fence up around there maybe this week sometime, so you guys will start seeing some activity around that building. Closure date was August 11th. We went through and we emptied the building out. We took all the collection out, and we have moved all the shelving out of the building. Here's a couple of pictures of the empty building, and when you're standing in it with no one in there, it's quite eerie. So. But it's fun that is finally moving forward, and they're going to get in there and start changing. These will be the last pictures you see of that type of view from the building. So, the next project we have is the Las Palmas Branch Library. I just came from, we had a project meeting over there today. That is our 2017 and 2022 bond project, adding 2,000 square feet to the front plaza. They're in construction, obviously. We're about 85% complete on there. We're still looking for their reopening sometime in November or December. Big exciting news there is they've got the front fully enclosed now. Today when I was there, the air conditioning system is running, so it's cool in that space. It's very exciting to be in there. So we're really looking forward to the next couple of months. Beautiful. Lots of activities there. The library staff have started working in there, starting to put books on some of the shelves, so it's starting to take shape. So we're going to be ready to go as soon as we get the go-ahead from the contractors to move in. We'll get finished up as quick as we can. And then the construction report is in your packet if you have any other questions.
Are there any questions?
I have a question. I'm sorry if you answered this and I missed it. I apologize. I noticed in the weekly report that we had to postpone turning on the solar at Brook Hollow.
They had to change the CPS shutdown date. That was originally scheduled for September 15th.
Right.
And we had gone through the process, remember, with the board last month of getting pre-approval for closure dates. And so we'd set that up, but then it didn't happen that morning. They had the wrong equipment in place. It was the contractor's fault, not CPS's fault, but the contractor had the wrong equipment in place. So now we have coordinated with the contractor and said, well, we gave you a shot. We closed it once. Now it's up to you. So they're rescheduling with CPS to come in overnight. And so now they're going to shut the power off at like 6 o'clock on a Thursday night and have it back on before we reopen the next morning. So,
Fantastic. Thank you.
date on when that's going to happen. So, thank you for that question.
Mark? Next, a report from the naming committee.
Not meet during the reporting period. However, the naming committee does have one action item with 2 parts on the agenda. You're welcome.
A report from the nominating committee.
Me. We met on September 9th, and the nominating committee does have one action item on the agenda.
Next, a report from the ad hoc board policy committee. Okay.
Dale's going to go. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The board policy committee did meet during this period on September 4th, and there is one action item for your consideration later.
Thank you.
Packet.
And then next, a report from the ad hoc, excuse me, from the ad hoc ILA committee. We did meet on September 16th, and I have a brief update to share with you all. The draft ILA agreement was delivered to Bexar County on September 9th and included in the county's budget. City Council approved our fiscal year 2026 budget on September 18th, which included the $3.5 million in revenue from the Bexar County payment to the city via the interlocal agreement. Next, we'll have a report from the Friends of the San Antonio Public Library.
The Friends are busy working on their donation plan for each of the branches. That's going on right now. It's about to come to an end. And our various committees are working on updating our budget, our bylaws, which were good back in the 90s, but we're going to bring them up just a little bit. And the website and newsletter committee is going great. I'm really excited about the website, what they're looking at to do. And then our membership materials are all going to be updated. We are in the process of printing brand new membership envelopes. And I probably won't have those till about the 3rd week of October. But I'm planning on hitting up each branch with the new ones. We've cleaned them up. We've made them not so wordy. I didn't like that. And that. So anyway, also, a big concern that I have is that our mission for Friends is that we're supposed to help with extra funding. And I feel like for the children to be able to have what they need, that there's only one way to do it for some of our branches. As you all know, we have 2 branches that do not have a Friends group, and they don't have their book cart out to get funds. I think that's sad because part of our mission statement is for community support. So therefore, I am proposing to bring those book carts back out to those 2 branches to start getting funding. I just find that, why not? The patrons want them. Why are we holding them back? Let's get some money into those 2 branches so that they can make a budget and say, look what we did. I have people from the Friends who will go by, collect the money, and put books on the book cart so that we can keep something going all the time at the branches. And I am just totally excited about that. It's just time we went another step. Also, I want to say thank you for coming out to San Pedro. That was fantastic. You all showed up, and it was a fun time, and I enjoyed it. And thank you for giving up your time to come. Our next meeting is on Sunday, September the 28th at 2 p.m., and it's going to be at McCreeless. I'm doing a different room set up and changing a few other things, and I think I'm going to have the board meeting down to where I'm going to like it to continue the setup. So anyway, come out if you can. I look forward to seeing you all. We've got kind of a full agenda, but I think it's going to be a good meeting and some good changes coming. Thank you so much.
Do you have a question, Marcy?
I just want to encourage, and I'm not sure that you do this, but I've seen very little on the social media for the Arts and Letters Awards. The deadline is coming up really quickly, and I don't know how many. I turned in an application. I don't know how many other people have, but I haven't seen hardly anything on social media, so people don't know about the deadline that's impending.
You are correct. Yours is the first one I have received. I know it. I know it, and I keep saying we've got to get out to the public. And I'm getting kickback. Don't like kickback. And yes, I know. September 30th is the cutoff. It's ridiculous. Right, I know, and everybody wants it so bad in the Friends, but I keep telling them, we've got to get out in the newspaper, we've got to get on our social media sites.
Thank you, Marcy, for that comment.
Marcy, which award is that? The award that you just mentioned?
The Arts and Letters Award.
I'm sorry, like I said, I've seen nothing on social media. I've read nothing in the paper. People don't know about it. If I weren't on this board, I wouldn't know about it. So in fact, I saw it was coming up really quickly, so I brought in one today. But there's just something, a miscommunication going on there.
I did get an email in 2022 about it. I still have it.
Okay, thank you all thanks for your feedback. I'm sure Liz will take it back. I know the algorithms can work against us sometimes. We don't see the things we want to see, but more communication probably is better is the takeaway from that. Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from the San Antonio Public Library Foundation.
Close enough? Oh, there we go. We are all Katrina Ball all the time right now.
We have sold out of $2,500 tables. We only have 2 $5,000 tables left, so table sales are going very well. We are a little bit behind our sponsorship levels, but we anticipate that we will be able to fix that in the next 5 weeks, since we still have 5 weeks to go until the event. We also have our nominating committee working at this time of year as well, so if anyone has a nomination for our board, for the foundation board, please let me know as soon as possible. So this is last call for nominations for the board. We are looking to fill about 3 spots. In the last 2 years, we've put quite a few new folks onto the board, so we're paring that down a little bit. We also will have, in preparation for Katrina Ball, a couple of volunteer work days. If anybody wants to help us with that, just let me know, and I can send you our sign-up genius. The caravan is fully launched. We have visited all our schools once now for this school year, and we're very excited about that. The kiddos get their backpacks the first time, and we really look forward to going forward this year, as well as board nominations. If you have any nominations for schools that are struggling with reading in your districts, please email me those suggestions, and we'll look at demographics and all of that and add them. We have a big heat map of the city where we try and cover over a 2-year period every city council district and lots of different schools in lots of different areas. So always looking for recommendations and contacts at the schools, because sometimes when we contact those schools, they don't contact us back. So there are a lot of ways to get the caravan out to those schools. We have run into a little snag with Born to Read. I'm sure you all heard that Trinity University Press is going to be closing down, and so we are working on, because we do give away between 10,000 and 15,000 of our books, our bilingual board books every year. We're going to need to find a new publisher for that and get that going. So little snag there, but still working with our current stockage of books. And does anyone have any questions for me? That was all that I had. Yes, ma'am.
Does the caravan go only to elementary, or do they go as far up as middle school?
No, the caravan focuses strictly on 2nd grade.
Oh, second
so
grade.
we did
Okay.
several years of pilot programs where we tested different ages, the effectiveness of, because we don't get to spend that much time with the kids, so we can't really impact test scores and all of that. So the whole purpose of the caravan program is to increase the kids' affinity for and familiarity with the library system, and get them excited about reading and have them drag their parents to the libraries. So we tested all the way from pre-K 3 up to 4th grade, and after a couple of years of testing, we discovered that the most effective point is at 2nd grade level. So we see strictly 2nd graders. We also tested over the course of a couple of years how often we need to see those kids to really make an impact. So we need to see them at least 6 times during the year to make a significant impact. Every year we come up with some way of tracking who's coming into the libraries. This year we have a temporary library card that the kiddos are getting, that they of course have to bring into the library to trade it for a real library card. So we had our Dragon Quest passport I brought in a few times. We gave them a prize if they got a library card, signed up for a program, brought a friend, checked out some books, and then brought their little passport back to us. But kids lose everything, so. I think I told this story last year of the little girl who brought her passport book back in a Ziploc bag because her mom had washed it in her pants. And so it was just little shreds of paper, and she brought it back, and she said, "I promise all the stickers were there." So every year we fine-tune that program, but we really are trying to make the biggest impact, and we found that the data is showing that that's in 2nd grade. Questions for Amy? I did want to share one thing I thought of the foundation and all the wonderful work you all do. I was listening to a podcast about literacy impacts, and one of the experts, who's also an author, he said that something that they found in their own study, and it was done in Maryland, was that just having a library in the child's home in elementary school greatly impacted literacy rates. So I was thinking about the work that you all do with Born to Read and the Caravan and all of these opportunities where you're just like, take books, you're handing out books. It's making a huge impact that we probably can't even measure right now, but years later we'll see those literacy impacts. So thank you so much.
It's amazing to me when we go to the schools how many kids do not have books at home, because that's one of the things we ask them at the first visit. Do you have books to read at home? Does someone read to you at home? And the answers to a lot of those questions are no. And so at the end of their second grade year, they'll have at least 6 books that they've gotten to choose with our visits. And we also let them, if they say, oh, I've got a little brother who needs a book, we'll send them home with 2 books. So we are very lucky this year. We have really struggled getting bilingual books because they are very expensive. But HEB has given us a grant to buy all the bilingual books that we need for the Caravan. So we've gotten some really great bilingual books this year, and we're excited about that.
A question, is there a specific kind of bilingual books that you're all looking for, or it's just in general?
Well, that are appropriate to second grade. What we found works best is bilingual books that the English and the Spanish are on the same page. So we spend a lot of time. So we end up with popular kids' books like Dragons Love Tacos. But it helps a lot to have the text all on the same page, that the kids are getting through the books more easily that way. So that's really what we look for. Popular kids' books that the kids are going to love to read, but that have both languages on the same page.
Like a Superman or Batman on both, that is appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we've got some really great ones. And of course, I announced last month that Drew Daywalt is going to be our author for next year's literacy luncheon. And so now we've been buying, The Day the Crayons Quit in bilingual form too. So we're getting ready for that. We're super excited about him. He is just the nicest guy.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next we'll have a report, staff report regarding 2025 Summer with SAPL. Dale?
Good afternoon again. I want to thank really every single person who works at the library. Every librarian, library assistant, circulation attendant, library aide, every single person, even if they don't work with the public, even if they work behind the scenes, is really involved in supporting Summer with SAPL, and of course, it really wouldn't be possible without what we get in support from the Friends and from the Foundation. It kind of takes all of us coming together. So for the last many years, Summer with SAPL has focused on options for children's, teen, and adults. And so even though it's all ages, Crescencia Huff, Coordinator, Children's Library Services, is going to present tonight, but she's going to cover all the ages. That's just in the interest of time and not having people coming back and forth.
Thank you, Dale. Good afternoon, trustees and director. I wonder if Dale and I maybe helped write my notes this afternoon, because I was going to say almost exactly what he just said. It's right here. But it absolutely true and in full agreement with him that we put a tremendous amount of effort into our Summer with SAPL program as an entire system, and it takes all of us and all of our supporters. It's time for the clicker, right? There we go. All right. So Summer with SAPL is an invitation to our community to enjoy summer engaging with the library in a variety of activities. It is about meaningful, individualized participation. There's no competition involved. And it's about more and deeper interactions with library users. We started off our summer with the combination kickoff event and Central Library 30th anniversary, which I believe many, if not all of you, were at. And it included many special guest speakers in our program, a memory wall with one of the highlighted memories there talking about how a grandmother had brought the individual and their sister to the library when it first opened, and now that individual was bringing their granddaughter to visit. So wonderful recognition of the role that the library has played in lives for generations. And then we had information about Summer with SAPL for all ages. For adults, this past summer, we have a lot to celebrate. Our adult services team presented a total of 106 programs with an attendance of 1,217. There was an extra emphasis on Juneteenth programming this year, which was inspired by brainstorming that the adult services team did while they met at St. Philip's College, our local HBCU. And we particularly want to acknowledge Sharon Ah and Amber McGinnis for their efforts on putting that together. One of the photos on the slide is of the Cox Family Singers presenting Sounds of Freedom, and it appears to be a very dramatic moment in their presentation. They also presented many craft programs, including no-sew felt cup sleeves and memory wire bracelets, which you can see pictured there, and live-streamed travel adventures for older adults through Wowzitude. The incentive for participation for adults this summer was these great flashlights that also, I believe, have a little pin in them, and they distributed 9,500 of them. For teens, there we go. For teens, as always, summer was planned and initiated by teens, and we have several different activities that they're doing on the slide there. There were 492 programs with 2,979 attendees. And a particular highlight is something that came out of the Teen Discord channel, which was to plan and host a pride party. That was entirely initiated by the teens and really a great success here at Central. For several years, we've also done a t-shirt design contest, and you can see the design for 2025 there. It was designed by Lola Suffrage, age 18, one of our teen volunteers. And always, the t-shirt is just so cool and only for teens. For children, we had a wide variety of cultural events, creative activities, and opportunities for play and exploration. We had musical bridges around the world again this summer, and their topic was to discover Indian music and culture. We did painting parties, we had a spy camp, fizzy eruptions, bubble parties are always a hit, as well as fort building and cardboard creations. And altogether, that was 1,140 programs with an attendance of 37,420. And going back to the point that was made earlier about children having libraries in their homes, we were super happy to distribute 19,252 brand new books to the children in our community. And we have great numbers to reflect on, but I also want to take a moment to share with you some of the joyful connections that we made. I asked our children's team to just share a moment of joyful connection from the summer, and I'm just going to pick a few to share with you. Meeting new families that have never visited the library at our summer kickoff event. The kids and caregivers were having so much fun dancing to our cleanup song that they didn't want to leave. A boy saying, "Wow, you guys have awesome books," when we rolled out the free book cart. Some community members really enjoyed the free lunch program and discovered our programs this way. The kid who followed me around the bubble party to show me how to make bubbles. Playing Pictionary with 3 school-age kids. We laughed so much and shared our love of words together. They were so enthusiastic. And watching the shadow puppet show put on by a 5-year-old boy about a penguin slipping on the ice into the ocean. And that concludes my report.
Questions for Crescencia or Dale? I guess we can ask Dale questions too. I had one question. Can you tell us, you shared these numbers and they look very impressive. How do they compare to last year? That you can come back to us. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Dale. Okay, next we have, the next item on the agenda is to consider recommendations from the naming committee regarding requests to name Spaces and Texana Resource Center at the Central Library in response to board-approved fundraising naming opportunities. So, Dale, are you going to present this one?
I am.
Okay.
This is the item. Just for background, let me just let you know that for Texana, as we worked through this process of naming opportunities, there were a variety of times that opportunities were brought to the board. And so I'm just going to let you know that in the October 2019 meeting of this board approved a naming opportunity for the flexible classroom that will be in the new Texana Resource Center and set a minimum amount for a naming gift at $100,000. The Kelleher Family Foundation did make a donation in that amount. In your September, and again in September 2017, and again in March of 2018, this board approved a naming opportunity for a listening station with a minimum donation of $25,000 for that naming. The Frost Bank Charitable Foundation did make a donation in that amount. This has been considered by the naming committee. The naming committee did follow its process, which involved opportunity for people to speak. We had the public meeting. I'm going to politely say at the public meeting, no one objected to either of these names. If you were there, you will know why I'm politely saying that. There was literally nobody who came who wasn't staff or a trustee. And I do think it's important to point out we did publicize this meeting very well. And I think the fact that no one was there simply meant that no one had any objections to the names. We tried to make it clear in the publicity, and Scott and his team did a great job, that was the purpose of the meeting. The purpose of the meeting is not to come say, name the space for my grandma, but rather, is there any objection to these names where we've received these very generous donations, of course, from the foundations, but coordinated by our foundation. So this comes to you from the naming committee with their recommendation for these two names. And this will conclude the naming opportunities for Texana. And our staff recommendation is here, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
We'll start with a nomination for a recommendation, yes, thank you.
Is it one altogether?
We're going to let's do them two separate, right? Is that correct?
You can do it either way, right? It can be one motion or two.
Oh, okay, we can do one then, yeah.
So I recommend to accept the recommendations from the naming committee for the Spaces in Texana Resource Center at Central Library for naming the flexible classroom, the Kelleher Family Foundation Classroom, and to name the listening station the Frost Bank Charitable Foundation Listening Station.
Okay, we have a first from Andrea.
I second the motion.
Have any questions about these? Any questions or clarification before we vote? Okay. Can you lead us in a vote, Edward? Thank you.
Carla Gugliello is absent. Joanne Harris. Josie Martinez. Andrea Sanchez Muniz.
Aye.
Marianne Valdez Hernandez.
Aye.
Fernanda Cardenas.
Aye.
Michelle Dalbles Robledo.
Aye.
Marcy Inks. Beth Graham.
Aye.
Judy Cruz.
Aye.
Spreet Kaur.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And thank you to the nominating committee for doing the work of coordinating and getting input from the public. I appreciate that. Next, we'll consider acceptance of the murals donated by the San Antonio Public Library Foundation entitled Women of the West Side by San Antonio Cultural Arts. And Kathy is going to give us some information about this.
Item 18 on your agenda is to consider acceptance of some murals. So first, a little bit of background. So back in 2010, these Women of the West Side murals were designed through community collaboration by San Antonio Cultural Arts and were ultimately installed in the clear story space you can see here of the Memorial Branch Library. During the design and work on the Memorial Branch as part of the 2017 bond, the locations for the mural were changed based on board approval of the design. The new spaces required some reconfiguration of the murals, which we've undertaken with the original artists so that they can be placed in the new areas of the building. The San Antonio Public Library Foundation fundraised for this effort and secured the funding for it. So the new locations for these reconfigured murals are shown here on this picture on the floor plan. And so you can kind of see the corresponding mural picture against the floor plan. So mural number 1, the approved location for it to be reinstalled is the Connect area. Mural number 2, the reconfigured space is the entrance in the library. Mural 3 is the collaborative room, and mural 4 is the main stack. So those were the locations approved by the board as part of the design for the relocation of these murals. Now they've been, so to speak, redone to fit those new spaces, but retaining the spirit and the content of the original murals. And the foundation successfully, based on our request, and I want to say thank you to the foundation, fundraised for the effort so that they can purchase the murals and donate them to the library system if the board chooses to accept the murals tonight. So that kind of brings us through the reimagining of the murals, which concluded recently, bringing us to tonight, your consideration of the acceptance of the murals from the foundation as an art donation. And then we would go through with the transaction through the foundation, and we would install the new murals at the Memorial Branch in November if it's approved by the board tonight.
So we'll start again with a motion.
I move to approve the acceptance of the murals donated by the San Antonio Public Library Foundation entitled Women of the West Side by San Antonio Cultural Arts.
Thank you, Judy. We got a first from Judy and a second from Marcy. Any questions or clarifications on this item?
The ones that are already there, are they going to be removed? At Memorial, there's already murals all around.
Yes, so this would be the final placement.
Okay.
I have a question. It seems the price seems extremely reasonable. It was like, what, 6,000 something for these huge murals? Who's the artist that's doing this? And why are they giving us a discount? I mean, I don't see how they can do this for this amount of money.
I agree. It is incredibly reasonable. price-wise, and it is San Anto Cultural Arts that's doing this with us. San Anto Cultural Arts. So we actually, in our original request to the foundation, asked them to fundraise a little bit more than this amount, and that'll help us cover the installation, et cetera, but it is very reasonable.
And you mentioned that the original artist helped to ensure that some of the adjustments were made, so that's nice that they're in agreement of like the final installation. Okay. Okay, very good. Any other questions, Andrea?
I think I'm remembering correctly, but didn't they have a corresponding plaque that went with it, or am I thinking of another mural? Okay, yeah, because I remember that there being a piece that at least explained some part to it, and if it's going to be split up into 4 kind of separate areas, at least a little bit of signage so that people still understand the meaning behind the art.
Absolutely. We can make that happen in the new locations, now that they'll be in separate locations.
And I know that this will happen, but recognition of San Anto as well as the creators.
Sorry, one more,
Oh, yeah.
just to do our due diligence, because I know we always ask this question. How will this impact the library opening, close when they do the installation?
It should not require any closure.
Question, thank you, Andrea. Okay, we'll go forward with the vote. Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle,
I
you
have
had a
just one
question.
more question. The installation, you said, is around November 25th, in that time frame, correct?
We're shooting for November, the month of November.
So when they do that, are they going to have some sort of a welcoming of the installation?
But that's definitely an idea. Yeah. Maybe a program around it.
Go forward and vote on this.
Carla Gugolo is absent. Joanne Harris. Josie Martinez.
Aye.
Andrea Sanchez Muniz.
Aye.
Marianne Valdez Hernandez.
Yes.
Fernanda Cardenas.
Aye.
Michelle Douglas Robledo.
Aye.
Marcy Ents.
Aye.
Beth Graham. Judy Cruz. Jaspreet Kaur.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, we are going to review and consider approval of the proposed San Antonio Public Library holiday closure schedule for fiscal year 2026 and take appropriate action.
Good afternoon. Jessica Zarita, Assistant to the Director. In your packet, you will find a purple document that has a draft proposal for the holiday schedule and closure schedule for the San Antonio Public Library for fiscal year 2026. In putting the schedule together, the City of San Antonio, as part of their budget adoption, does also include a holiday and closure schedule for the City of San Antonio. As a city department, we are able to adjust a schedule for the library system, and this takes into account of San Antonio Public Library being a 7-day-a-week operation, where the City of San Antonio is primarily a 5-day-a-week operation. So it's necessary for the library to create what we call a modified schedule so that we can account for holidays that perhaps take place on a weekend or other days that impact library services. So what you have before you is a proposal taking all of that into consideration. In developing this proposal, we also met with 2 staff work groups to just get their opinions and thoughts about the schedule to make sure that we were able to review the dates and what we were proposing. As a result of that, we did make one change, so it was helpful for us to get that feedback from frontline staff. This schedule does include 4 half-day closures for in-service. This is a practice we began in fiscal year 2023 to close a half a day, so 4 hours, to allow staff to work on staff development, professional development, and growth. And so we do continue that pattern with the schedule. You may remember we are postponing Staff Day, which is a full day of service, of closure, where we take that day and meet together as a team. With over 500 staff members, it's difficult for us to do that on a regular basis, so we make a concerted effort to do that when we can. So this schedule does allow for us to come back before the board to schedule a staff day. We would transform an in-service day to a staff day with the board approval. It does give us time to work with the convention center to identify a date, because we have to work with them in advance. They do work with us with waiving the fees, which means we have to work with them on schedule. So we do have that capacity within this to transform one of these dates as we're able to in the future. Of course, we'll come back before the board with plenty of time to make sure that the board is in agreement with that decision. And I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jessica, for laying that out. Just as a reminder, if you haven't seen it yet, there is a packet, there is a purple and white sheet in your packet that has the proposed schedule and our current schedule, if you want to, just for reference. The holiday schedule went for last time around. And after taking a look at that, I will entertain a motion or accept a motion for approval.
With regard to New Year's Eve,
We have to have a motion on the floor to ask additional questions.
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I motion to approve the San Antonio Public Library holiday closure schedule for fiscal 2026 as presented.
And a second from Marcy. I'm sorry, Beth. Go ahead.
That's okay. And correct my memory if I'm wrong, I seem to remember that the library used to close early on New Year's Eve rather than closing the whole day. Is this a change?
Library system in the past has done various models for New Year's Day. I will say that for FY, and I have past months, for FY '22, the library system observed New Year's Eve on the 31st, so we were closed. On FY '23, the library system was closed on New Year's Eve, and I can go all the way up. 25 is closed. 2024 closed on New Year's Eve as well. So it may have been maybe more than 5 years that it's been a different practice.
Vote on this one.
Orla Gugiolo is absent. Joanne Harris.
Yay.
Josie Martinez. Andrea Sanchez Muniz.
Aye.
Marianne Valdez Hernandez.
Yes.
Fernanda Cardenas.
Yes.
Michelle Douglas Robledo.
Aye.
Marcy Ents.
Aye.
Beth Graham.
Aye.
Judy Cruz. Jaspreet Kaur.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you, and thank you for the thought and consideration about the staff in-service days. I know that the board as a whole feels very strongly about the importance of those full-day events as well, so encourage you all to come back to us when the time is appropriate to set that up. Next, we'll consider recommendation from the Ad Hoc Board Policy Committee to amend the Patron Code of Conduct for the library system. I think Fernanda Dale is going to present this. Okay, thank you.
And I'm going to pause a little bit and give you a little background while Jessica is distributing something, and then I'll tell you about the two documents that you will have. So this is a relatively, the existing Patron Code of Conduct is a relatively new policy that this board approved in June of 2024. We put a very short revision date to it at that point, so we're bringing it back to you a little sooner than we've brought some other policies. I'm just going to be honest and say when Christina and I first looked at this, we were just going to bring you back the exact same policy and say, hey, y'all okay with this? But as we talked to our staff more, the staff said, you know, we've had all this trauma-informed care training. We would like to revise the whole thing. So obviously that was the right thing to do. And so that's what we're bringing to you is informed by that. We're making it a little more clear about the possible results of violation. And you'll see some language that's been informed by the trauma-informed care training that we had. So you have in your packet, and you can look at either one or both of these as we go, you have this kind of cream-colored document. This is the new policy that we're proposing. That should be in your packet. And then what Jessica just distributed, and this was a suggestion at the executive committee meeting, which I thought was a great suggestion. So this is a black line version, like literally taking the two documents and comparing them so you can see you know, what is actually changed. And as I walk through, that's what I'm going to focus on. But you can follow along on whichever document is easier. I think some people prefer just to look at the finished document, and some prefer to look at the, well, this is new to us, so maybe you'll prefer the new one. I had to learn some things in Microsoft Word today that I did not know, but you know, it's always good to learn.
Yeah, that's great. I just want to add that, so if you are referencing these two, just a reminder that this was also sent in your packet, so everyone had an opportunity to read ahead, and it would have been this version that you got in the packet. It did not have the track changes on, which is something new today. Thanks, Dale, you can continue.
Yeah, thank you for that. And what we'll probably do in the future is put the lined out version, assuming it is a revision, you know, not a brand new policy, we'll probably put that along with the other one in the packet. So we worked with a group of staff, frontline staff and security staff who enforce these rules every day. But again, this is after through Metro Health, the city's health department, we've had a lot of training about how to think about the fact that people bring their whole life with them wherever they go, and the trauma that they've experienced comes with them. And so we wanted to think more about how do we make these rules clearer. We still need to have rules, we still need to follow the rules, but how do we think about them in that way? And when I say people, I'm not only talking about the patrons, but the staff members as well. You know, we all, and you as well, we all, you know, bring our whole selves to the work that we do. Well, that'll be later. So I think I'll just start with the beginning section. I'll kind of go section by section, but feel free to ask me questions as we're going. I don't want to spend, you know, time that seems clear to everyone that it's clear, but I don't want to, you know, hurry through this either. So the section 1, the purpose, nothing here is substantially changed. We did not have previously, I think an important change here is that there may be times when some rules are temporarily adjusted when the library is operating in a different capacity. That's something new. So it's something we already did, but the Patron Code of Conduct didn't make it clear. So, for example, if the city has us stay open later to be a place to stay warm or a place to stay cool, many of these rules are not in place. People are allowed to bring their pets. They're allowed to sleep. You know, other things go into place. So we wanted to just start off right at the beginning and say, sometimes these rules are not in effect. Any questions about the purpose section and the other changes that we made there? And of course, as we go, you can always come back. It's not like, you know, once I mention that section, we're done with it forever. Section 2 is the definitions, and I think you'll see here some situations where you can see that we've thought about language a little more carefully. So I'll give you an example where we did have acceptable bodily hygiene, and we talked about the person's body. It now says maintaining oneself so as not to impede others' use of the library. So as we thought about it and as we've enforced this rule, nobody wants to talk about somebody else's body. So we think this will be a kinder way to address these concerns when they come up. We go through, and I see where I could do, yes, just brief. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So there's some other changes there in the definitions, and I think one is for suspension, and, oh, wait. Some of these changes show up as changes, and I don't know why. Like in this case, it shows as a change, interlibrary property, anyway. It was exactly the same.
Yeah, that's okay. So I think, thank you for giving us a highlight in how the document's set up. That is very clear, and that helps us to understand. I want to see if trustees have any questions about specific sections that they want to get clarification on, just acknowledging that most people probably read it ahead of time.
Sure.
And so they're ready. And we have members of the committee that have also gone through quite a rigorous review. So are there any questions on any of the language there? I had one clarification, just for my own edification, under prohibited behavior, B9. Are there, it says prohibited outdoor spaces, are there designated smoking areas at all branches?
So let me just get the exact, can you tell me the number?
It's
Oh, 9,
B9.
right? Smoking or vaping in library facilities or prohibited outdoor spaces. So when a person is on the grounds, smoking is not actually prohibited beyond the ordinance. The smoking ordinance doesn't actually have a distance, but we usually enforce 20 feet from any door to the library. So we have allowed people to smoke on the grounds, but not within 20 feet of any entrance. We didn't want to specifically say that here, but rather just say that in any prohibited outdoor space, in case that ordinance were to change, we wouldn't have to change this policy. So that's what that's reflecting.
Can I add a clarifying question to that? Because now you've sparked something. We do have several playgrounds that are technically on library property. Does the
Right.
smoking extend the prohibition to those areas as well?
Do you happen to know, Christina? I don't know for a fact. We would have to find, if it is prohibited, like if the ordinance prohibits smoking at the playground, this language would do that. We can let you know in a follow-up what the smoking ordinance says. I've read it literally hundreds of times, and I just can't remember what it says.
Section 3 guidelines, point number 2, where you've changed allow to permit. I'm just curious about the reason for that change.
I'm sorry, you said the section, Beth, and I...
Section 3 guidelines.
It may
Yeah,
be,
page 2.
There we go.
Point number 2.
I had
yeah.
my pages turned upside down.
it may
Wait,
just
where
be
is it?
about the
Where is
permission
it?
aspect of it, I'm guessing.
So I don't know that this change is particularly substantial. As the staff group was working on this, I think permit seemed, so.
They're going to seek permission prior
Right.
to starting.
You have to permit me to look in your bag. It seems something a little tiny nuance clearer than you have to allow me to look in your bag. It doesn't make any big difference, I don't think, but.
I think it's significant for the person who's.
Yes, but we were looking at that level of nuance.
I have one.
Go ahead,
So
Nancy.
on the guidelines, part 3, and it's 4, and it says, for safety and public health, wear footwear and clothing that covers private areas. Now, does that mean you can't wear sandals? I mean, I'm not, that just seems very unclear to me. And when you say private areas, so you can come in like tube tops and things like that, that's permissible? Okay.
Sure. So it's trying to
But
say.
the feet, though, are, you know,
Sure.
I don't know.
It's trying to say, and let's see if we think it does, because that's the whole purpose of this, right? It's trying to say wear footwear, something on your feet, and clothing that covers private areas. Like the footwear doesn't have to cover your whole foot. And if that's not clear, well, maybe we could make it clear.
I think a comma after footwear would achieve that.
The Oxford comma.
Where footwear,
clothing.
comma, and appropriate or what,
Or you could say,
Yeah.
and also clothing, yeah, one or the other, but I think it does need
Yeah.
to be a little bit clearer.
yeah, footwear, comma, and clothing that covers private areas.
I think that clarification is good. Maybe appropriate footwear could come in, but we'll leave that to you and Christina to determine, because that's not going to materially change the intent of this.
Right, and we can do as we've done before, where we'll make that change before we bring it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a vote.
I have one thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle, did you have another
One
question?
thing. Real quickly, where it says, in that same thing, footwear, et cetera, private areas is an open term. I would prefer not to see shirtless men walking into a library, but men don't think that not having a shirt on is a private area. So is that included in this, or like the no shirt, no shoes, no service thing?
Definitely do not allow anyone without a shirt to come into the library. So if we all think that we need to add, like, maybe look at this one to make that clearer. I know the group, Elma led the staff group. I know they spent a lot of time on this simple sentence, but if we need to make it clearer, I think maybe we need, what I'm thinking is maybe we need 2 sentences, like one about the shoes, and then another one that says a little bit more about.
And the clothing, yeah.
Like you must wear a shirt in some way, and then say a little bit more.
So based on the level of questions, my recommendation would be that we pause on adopting this patron code of conduct so that you can make the required adjustments and then bring it back to the board. Thank you. Thank you, Dale, for leading us through. Next, we're going to review and consider approval of the proposed meeting schedule for the Library Board of Trustees for fiscal year 2026 and take appropriate action. And Edward was going to be delivering this presentation.
Library Board Trustees and Library Director. They will discuss the meeting schedule for 2026.
There's no such
So since
here.
2023, we have ventured out to 4 branches every year, 2023, 2024, 2025. So this year, our suggestion would be to Thousand Oaks for January, that's District 10, Great Northwest, District 6 in March, Westfall, District 1 in May, and July will return back to Las Palmas in District 5. Last time we were at Thousand Oaks was July 2018. The last time we had a meeting at Great Northwest was January 2013. The last time we had a meeting at Westfall was October 2018. And the last time Las Palmas hosted a meeting was August 2013.
Thank you, Edward. So again, the blue and white sheets are in your packet, and once you have a chance to take a look at it, I'll entertain a motion.
Post meeting schedule for FY 2026 as presented.
Second.
Any questions?
I do. The December 3rd meeting, I don't have my calendar in front of me. Is that, again, the first week of December when we have decided in the past that it's not a great week to have it?
We did try that last year, but I think we had mixed results on that too. So we determined, we didn't make a determination, but the proposal here is that to bring it back to the December. You'll see in this sheet that it was November 20th last time. So.
Yeah, I'd be opposed to this schedule. I would.
For that one day, yeah. Okay, noted, thank you.
And here said that that was a bad week for a lot of people, but I'm not sure. I thought a lot of people came up to me individually and said, oh, I'm so glad. We have a lot going on that week, so I would not vote for this.
It's definitely something that we can discuss now, yeah. It's something we could discuss right now, sorry. Yep. Anyone else have feedback on the schedule? Sorry, I'm not using my mic. Anyone else that has feedback on the schedule or the proposed dates, or any questions or clarifications about the districts or the branches that are proposed? Thank you for the years visited. I think that's helpful to know when the last time the board has had a meeting there. Okay, anyone else have comments or questions? Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote on this. Then we can just do an auto or oral vote since you're at the stage. All those in favor of the proposed meeting schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we have one opposed. And the motion passes. Thank you, Edward. Okay, and then next we have the election of the San Antonio Public Library Board of Trustees officers for fiscal year 2026 in accordance with the Library Board of Trustees bylaw. This is an action item, and we'll start with Josie Martinez, who was the chair of the nominating committee, presenting the recommendations.
Madam Chair, the nominating committee submits the following nominations. For Chair, Jaspreet Kaur. For Vice Chair, Joanne Harris. For Secretary, Judy Cruz. And for Treasurer, Beth Graham.
Thank you. I'm going to start by just thanking the nominating committee for each of you for the time that you spent and the work that went into putting together the slate. And we will take these nominations one at a time. For chair, Jaspreet Kaur is nominated by the nominating committee. Are there any further nominations for the position of chair? Are there any other nominations for the position? Okay, then nominations are closed. For vice chair, Joanne Harris is nominated by the nominating committee. Are there any further nominations for vice chair? Any further nominations? Okay, nominations are closed. For secretary, Judy Cruz is nominated by the nominating committee. Are there any further nominations for secretary? Any further nominations? Okay, nominations are closed. And for treasurer, Beth Graham is nominated by the nominating committee. Are there any further nominations for treasurer? Any further nominations? Okay, nominations are closed. Are there any further nominations for any position? Any further nominations? Okay, nominations are closed. As many are in favor of Jaspreet Kaur for chair, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. As many are in favor for Joanne Harris for vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say no. As many are in favor of Judy Cruz for secretary, say aye.
Aye.
And those who oppose, say no. As many are in favor for Beth Graham for treasurer, say aye.
Aye.
As many are in favor, say no. Okay, the ayes have it. Then those nominated are elected. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you again, Josie, for leading the committee, and welcome, Beth, to being a member of the executive committee. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Thank you all for your time and attention.
Do I need to move to adjourn?
Yes. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes, and I want to thank you so much for moving these meetings along so quickly. We are just so appreciative. They used to go on forever, so you're doing a great job as chair, so I'm glad you're coming back in again. And I move to adjourn.
Thank you for that. Have a good evening, everyone.